The year did not arrive quietly. It stepped in while you were distracted, already assigning weight to your position, already registering where you stand without asking your opinion. Most people think the beginning of a year is symbolic, a harmless marker. But markers are used to measure distance, not intention. The moment it turns, comparison begins. Who moved early? Who hesitated? Who stayed comfortable long enough to be counted without resistance? That counting happens whether you participate or not. The unease you feel right now is not anxiety about the future. It is awareness that the structure has already resumed while you are still negotiating with yourself. People like to believe time offers forgiveness. It does not. Time only exposes patterns that survived long enough to become predictable. Whatever you postponed last year did not dissolve. It matured. It learned your excuses. It adjusted to your timing. When the calendar changed, those patterns did not reset. They stepped forward with you, already ahead of where you expected them to be. Machiavelli would never confuse a clean page with a clean position. He understood that momentum belongs to those who moved before. Permission feels necessary. Notice how quickly others appear settled, even if nothing visible has changed. This is not because they are better prepared. It is because they did not wait for clarity to legitimize motion. Waiting feels intelligent, but it quietly signals deference. It tells the world you require comfort before pressure, certainty before exposure. That signal does not go unnoticed. It is catalogued. The hierarchy updates itself based on who delays and who advances. Without explanation, there is a subtle violence in how early momentum works. No announcement, no confrontation, just silent separation. Those who move decisively are already operating under different assumptions. Those who paused are still framing intentions as if intention carries weight on its own. It does not. The year does not reward intent. It rewards positioning. By the time most people decide to act, the environment has already reorganized around those who acted without waiting. The most dangerous illusion at the start of a year is the belief that there is still time to ease into it. Ease is interpreted as uncertainty. Uncertainty invites bypass. While you calibrate, others claim space. While you reflect, others define the frame. None of this requires aggression. It requires comfort, with being slightly ahead before it feels justified. That comfort is rare. It is also decisive. What you are sensing now is not pressure from the future. It is pressure from the present, realizing it has already been sorted. The year has started counting. It has noticed who is ready to be measured and who is still preparing to arrive. People assume being behind is about time, about starting late, about missing a date on the calendar. That belief is comforting because it implies the problem is external. It suggests that if the clock were kinder, everything would rebalance on its own. But delay is not measured in days. It is measured in posture. The way you enter situations already negotiating with yourself. The way you lower expectations before reality has the chance to challenge you. That positioning did not begin on January 1st. It has been rehearsed quietly for years, reinforced every time hesitation felt safer than clarity. By the time the year changes, the outcome is already leaning in a certain direction. What most people feel right now is not pressure from the future, but exposure from the past. The new year removes excuses by narrowing the contrast. You see who moved while you stayed adjustable, who hardened decisions while you refined explanations. This is why optimism feels forced during this period. Hope has to work harder when comparison sharpens. Machiavelli would never confuse hope with leverage. He understood that visibility reveals hierarchy faster than conflict ever could. Watch how easily others occupy space once momentum is established. They speak less because their position speaks first. They are not rushing. They are not convincing. Their presence is already priced into the room. Meanwhile, those who start the year behind are louder internally, quieter externally. They calculate reactions before actions. They predict rejection before resistance even appears. This is not humility. It is a trained response to past positioning. Being behind is rarely dramatic. It is subtle, procedural, polite. It shows up in how long it takes to decide, how quickly you justify choices that no one challenged, how often you soften edges before they meet anything solid. These habits accumulate interest but not in your favor. Each cycle compounds distance. Each year confirms a pattern that becomes harder to interrupt without friction. The discomfort you sense now is not anxiety about the future. It is the awareness that the same internal mechanics are still operating, that you are entering another cycle with familiar limits disguised as realism. The calendar did not create this gap. It only made it visible, and visibility changes the game. Because once distance is seen, it must either be closed decisively or explained endlessly. Most people choose explanation. It preserves identity. It avoids rupture. It allows them to feel intelligent while remaining stationary. Machiavelli would never protect an image at the expense of position. He knew that appearing reasonable is often the fastest way to become irrelevant. As the year begins, hierarchy does not wait for readiness. It responds only to movement, and movement, once delayed long enough, becomes harder to initiate without cost. By the time most people notice they are behind, the gap is already structural. It is no longer about speed. It is about position. The calendar did not push them back. Their own habits quietly stepped forward and claimed territory. What feels like lost time is actually lost leverage. Leverage disappears when days are treated as neutral, when choices are made to reduce discomfort instead of increase control. The new year only reveals what was already negotiated in private. The small permissions given to delay, soften, rationalize. Machiavelli would never mistake motion for momentum. He understood that movement. Without direction only exhausts. The weak while the disciplined advance without noise. Observe how early January feels heavier than expected. Energy is present, but it has no edge. People are active, yet nothing sharpens. That dullness is not fatigue. It is the weight of unresolved positioning. When nothing decisive was claimed before the year turned, everything now requires more force. Conversations feel slightly off. Opportunities arrive already framed for someone else. Even confidence feels borrowed, like a suit that fits but was never tailored. This is how being behind actually manifests, not as panic but as subtle misalignment with timing. Most do not realize how early hierarchy locks in. It happens before plans, before goals, before visible outcomes. It happens in silence, in what is tolerated internally. Each time hesitation is protected, each time certainty is postponed in favor of comfort, the structure adjusts. Not loudly, efficiently. The world does not punish this behavior. It accommodates it. And accommodation is the most dangerous response, because it removes urgency while quietly fixing your place. There is a particular calm that appears when someone accepts being late. It feels like maturity, like realism. In truth, it is resignation disguised as wisdom. Machiavelli would never confuse acceptance with intelligence. He knew that those who normalize disadvantage rarely escape it, because they stop generating friction. Friction is uncomfortable, but it is also how attention is drawn, how space is claimed, how roles are disrupted. As weeks pass, the difference between those ahead and those behind widens without drama. One side moves with fewer explanations, fewer adjustments, fewer internal negotiations. The other becomes more articulate, more self-aware, more capable of explaining why things are not aligning yet. Explanation replaces execution. Language replaces pressure. And slowly, almost politely, relevance begins to thin. This is not failure, it is dilution. Being behind is not about lacking ability, it is about having already signaled what will be tolerated. The new year did not start this process, it simply removed the excuse of waiting. What remains now is visibility, and visibility once clear is unforgiving. The quiet truth is that the year does not wait for readiness. It advances while most people are still negotiating internally, replaying the same arguments they carried from the previous cycle. Momentum is not created by intention. It is inherited by those already in motion. Everyone else feels the weight of being late without knowing why. They sense pressure, but misidentify its source. They think it comes from time. It does not. It comes from comparison, from realizing subconsciously that others have already occupied positions they assumed would remain open. Machiavelli would never mistake patience for virtue when delay produces exposure. He understood that timing is not neutral. It either protects you or reveals you. Watch how hesitation reshapes identity. At first it looks harmless. A pause, a reconsideration, a preference for stability over disruption. But repetition hardens it into posture. People begin to read you as someone who arrives after decisions are made. someone who reacts instead of shapes. This perception settles quickly and resists revision. Once assigned, it becomes efficient for everyone else. You are no longer evaluated. You are categorized, and categories rarely reopen themselves. The new year intensifies this process because it amplifies contrast. Movement becomes visible. Those who prepared quietly begin acting loudly. Those who relied on timing realize timing does not rely on them. The discomfort that surfaces is not motivation. It is recognition of displacement. A realization that the structure has already adjusted without your input. That conversations are happening in rooms you are no longer invited into. Not out of malice, out of efficiency. There is a specific unease that emerges when you sense opportunity narrowing. It feels like urgency mixed with paralysis. The mind races while the body remains still. This is not lack of capability. It is loss of leverage. Leverage requires presence before demand. Once demand arrives, presence is assumed to be absent. Machiavelli would never attempt to negotiate from absence. He would secure position first, then allow others to discover its value too late to contest it. What keeps most people behind is not ignorance. It is familiarity, familiar habits, familiar fears, familiar internal bargains that trade short-term comfort for long-term erasure. These bargains feel intelligent because they reduce immediate friction, but they compound invisibility. Each time friction is avoided, the environment learns it does not need to accommodate you. It adapts around you, and adaptation, once complete, is rarely reversed. As the year unfolds, this gap widens quietly, not through dramatic failure, but through accumulated omission. Moments not taken, signals not sent, weight not applied. The structure rewards those who disturb it just enough to register. Those who remain smooth are passed over without notice. The pressure does not disappear when the year turns. It sharpens. By now, the pattern is visible if you are willing to look without defending yourself. Some people move into the next cycle already positioned, already anticipated, already calculated by the environment around them. Others cross the same threshold carrying explanations, hoping time itself will soften the consequences of hesitation. The difference is not effort or intelligence. It is whether their presence forces adjustment or quietly adapts to what already exists. Machiavelli would never mistake motion for leverage. He understood that history only responds to those who arrive with weight, not wishes. What follows is not dramatic. It is precise. The world does not punish indecision. It simply stops reacting to it. When your patterns are familiar, when your responses are predictable, when your boundaries can be inferred before you speak, attention shifts elsewhere. Not out of malice, out of efficiency. Systems optimize for impact. People do the same. The new year does not reset this logic. It accelerates it. Everyone is being assessed again, silently in the first weeks. Who moves differently? Who hesitates less? Who no longer negotiates internally in public? You can feel this happening in subtle ways. Conversations shorten or lengthen around certain people. Opportunities drift toward those who seem already aligned with outcomes. Others are kept informed, included but never centered. This is not exclusion. It is ranking, and rankings harden quickly when cycles restart. The uncomfortable truth is that most men sense this, yet refuse to name it, because naming it would mean admitting how long they have been, signaling permission to be placed where they are. Power never announces itself at the start of a year. It watches. It measures reactions. It notes who speaks with fewer words and who fills space to be tolerated, who allows silence to exist without panic, who seems unchanged by urgency. These are not tricks. They are indicators. They reveal who controls their internal economy and who leaks it outward. Machiavelli would never advise noise where stillness already commands attention. By the time others realize the hierarchy has shifted again, it feels sudden. It never is. It is simply the result of accumulated signals finally being acknowledged. The year rewards continuity of posture, not bursts of intention. If nothing about how you are perceived changes, the calendar becomes irrelevant. The system already knows where to place you. This is the moment most people scroll past, rationalize, or postpone. And that response itself is information. If this perspective holds your attention, if it irritates or unsettles you, that tension is not accidental. It is recognition. Let it stay with you. If this way of seeing cuts through the noise, mark it. Stay close to what sharpens your awareness. Signal that you are paying attention now, because the year will respond accordingly.